What in the world happened here? YCS Weekend Edition. So, make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that, man with the mark, the Apophis button. Everything in the Apophis deck has literally left the building, people. I repeat, this is not a drill. Now, should we be like surprised Pikachu faced about this? No, this literally won a YCS this weekend. You know, though I will say, though, if you did pick this up for Genesis format, I am kind of worried that now Konami is going to take this deck out of Genesis format because it had success this weekend. If you are expecting, well, Robbie, they're not going to do anything, I think you're going to be a little bit surprised with what Konami is willing to do with the steps to try to make this format, balanced. Now, this still won, 15 out of 16 dice rolls? That's an incredibly crazy amount to me. That this duel has just had enough variance to end up just performing out of the literal arena this weekend. And I think that's crazy, man, that you were able to find that much success with that high of a dice roll win. But once again, variance has to take hold. So if you are approaching this, wanting to pick these up, the embodiments have already, they rocketed up to 45, they're back down to 27 as of filming this. I do expect to see a little bit more shakeability around, those two cards as time kind of goes on throughout the week, just because, people are like, oh, I'm so excited that we get the chance to see this. Once again, I get it. Just approach with the utmost of caution, because this is that kind of scenario where you're going to get carried away and you're just going to go, oh, I just lost money by a possible hit on a Genesis format. Dark Spirit's Mastery. Man, if you pick these up, when I talked about these a long time ago, you literally won the lottery on these. Because right now, the lowest Dark Spirit Mastery for Ultra is $8. Now, once again, this is because it searches for a level 8 Fiend monster, and it adds back from Graveyard. Now, the classic idea behind this is, I can use this to toggle and search for Regenesis. Yeah, typically. This is a pretty basic searcher, and especially, once again, you got a lot, especially right over here in the corner. All right, not only do you have all these buyouts and inspiration from the market, you've got Genesis format absolutely taking hold in today's market, and people are they're going crazy to get these cards because they're subtle alternatives to point-based things that give you an opportunity to basically supplement. And that's a good thing. I like being able to supplement cost and be able to make my life way easier, because that's always going to be the name of the game, right? We want easy searchability, but at the same time, if we're playing Genesis format, we have to keep these point cost in line with a cheap enough value that, it becomes cost effective and actually worth it to choose to play these. And I think that's something that you kind of got to consider when, you're approaching this format. So, okay. Outside of that, you do have alternatives to Dark Spirit's Mastery in the lower rarities. You don't have to, get absolutely baited in on I need the bling. Ground Xeno. Really? Ground Xeno again? I don't know how many times I see Ground Xeno being one of these cards that goes, ooh, ooh, ooh. The card got a reprint a long time ago, and I think we all were just kind of like, okay, cool. Job's done, Ground Xeno got the reprint, we don't have to worry about anything. No, actually, you've got every sort of new Dinosaur deck kind of coming out from the woodwork now that's kind of wanting to approach and choose to play the good support that they've got. So, the thing is, when I'm looking at the Dinosaur decks right now, there's nothing that really piques my interest. I mean, like, Jirac is a fun deck. Like, I don't think we're really going to anybody want to argue that Jirac's a fun deck, but with Ground Xeno, I guess it does unlock the possibility of including the fusion monsters within the deck, and that gives you the chance to maybe explore and go down some paths, but I'm not totally set on that idea either. It's just, this is a scenario where you have very good toolbox options within Dinosaurs. It also gets you searchability, and I guess my only other major thought here is you can thank Genesis format for giving you supplemental ways to try to do it. I mean, Ultimate Conductor's a heck of a card, man. You know, over 3,000 attack points, being able to book a moon, a field, and being able to basically attack over and clear up huge threats. That's always going to be what this, deck is supposed to be about. Also, Misk is still at 1, so hee hee ha ha. Maybe someday we'll see some return of limitations to that. And now I gotta talk about Jirac Meteor. But Robbie, you just talked about Dinosaurs. Well, so here's the thing. Jirac Meteor and the Dinosaur from the Battles Legend, the dual terminal stuff, these cards are actually kind of turning into staple-esque cards in Genesis format. Anything that can manipulate the extra deck is a culprit now for this. And this also goes for current format as well. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a haha funny list that, for example, Mega Zoborg giving the ability to toss out all of the extra deck things that you have, 8 cards from both players' extra decks, for example, and then you're able to, guess what? You're able to use these, banish the Jiracs, and you have access to a Jirac Meteor board clear. Now, is that fair that, these decks that are looking to manipulate their extra decks have access to this? I mean, in hindsight, no. This is probably a future problem that is going to have to get fixed. I can't imagine that, especially in Genesis format, that they're going to allow you to continuously, manipulate the extra deck, allowing you to create these, nuclear level events that are just, easy access. That doesn't seem like something that Konami is going to want to have. And I agree. I think being able to toss things out of the extra deck on a generically broken scale is a problem. It's just how soon and how fast they will retroactively, address this sort of problem. I don't know. This might be something that might take a little while for them to look at and to consider. The extra deck is a weird state of design. It definitely is. And then we've got Dominus Spiral. So the the Starlight Rare of Dominus Spiral shot in price. Now this is your new Dominus card that I famously have read tweets from people literally this week going, you've gotta pay me negative points to play this card. Or, this new Dominus is so bad. But oddly enough, people are rushing out here and they're trying to play these new Dominuses. And I find that very interesting because, to see, maybe it's just people coping and being like, these are cheap value cards, we can get some sort of access to it, or, it's just more trap cards that, we can kind of mess around with. I mean, yeah, that's fine. That's honestly a safe mentality to be looking at, You do have that little shift around and things to discuss. So, in terms of seeing the Starlight hitting like $70 over the weekend, that's a little bit much. I'm not really trying to, spend that much money. It was like $50 at the very beginning, but to see, this card tick back up it's just simply not worth it to buy the bling versions when we all pretty much know the destined fate of the high rarity version. It'll be stupidly high, but you can get the low rarity version. It'll do you the same thing. All right. There's no reason to go rush, crazy. So what do you guys think about what in the world happened here? Please, if comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys.
Patrons!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.